Hi, one and all. Welcome to Missing People Psychic Readings. I'm Margaret. If you like, subscribe and put your thumbs up if you want. So before I do Missing Peoples on Wednesday, I just want to do one more YouTube thing, not connected to it. So I decided to do NCIS and NCIS Sydney. And when I do it, I'm going to call it Sydney. It's just how I do it with all the NCIS. I say New Orleans, Los Angeles, it's easier. It's a minute from. And I do feel like I need to put a claim on this one. So not for me, it's more for Channel 10 and Southern Cross. So yeah, so this is how it's going to go. I just want to put it out there that no one told me nothing related to Sydney. I had no idea. Channel 10 Southern Cross said nothing to me. Vinegar said nothing to me. And I just want to put that one out there because I don't want people to get in trouble for this, okay? Two, and if you're not sure, you think, oh, Margaret, someone did tell you, Indy told you. No, she didn't. The first thing I would say to you, look at my NCIS YouTube staff, the Queen's Pass and Cleo, the young girl went missing last year, I think, last year or the year before. I will watch these three because it gives you will see that no one told me, okay? You'll see no one told me. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And like I said, I'm going to put, when I talk about NCIS Sydney, I will just say NCIS. I chose this picture because 2 Saturdays ago here in Australia, we just had that crossover where a double, the lady looked like the same person, with two people. And she was trying to kill everyone off, yeah. So that's how I'll go with it. But so I'm going to do a reading on them. Like I said, no one told me nothing. So yeah, some of it might be a reading. It's the stuff I saw at in the community, mainly on Facebook. Yeah, but yeah. So let's start with the reading. I feel like this show Neighbours. It's coming back in April. They're going to introduce it. They're going to introduce Sydney, maybe in Home and Away. I'm not quite sure. You'll probably know these two shows. But yeah, they're going to introduce NCIS Sydney. I do feel like Tony Seaver's coming into it, maybe even Gibbs. I do feel like it was in the pipeworks for a while. I do feel like it's been in the pipeworks for a while. Into a point, I feel like it's the Sydney, the NCIS people, I would say. I don't know what you call them, so I'm just going to say the NCIS people came to Australia or talked to people in Australia for the last 3-4 years. I feel like that. Talking about the show itself. The other thing I feel like is Sydney is not going to just be, it's based in Sydney, but it's going to be across the whole Australia. I feel like it's going to be just across the whole Australia. To the point where it's going to be in Melbourne, it's going to be in Adelaide, that kind of stuff, okay? What else do I feel like with this one? I feel like it's going to be one of those shows, not connected to the fans, but the public itself. And that's what's going to make Sydney work or not work to a point. Is our Americans going to be willing to wait that extra month for the Sydney to come on their channel, that kind of stuff. So I feel like the public would be more yes or no to it. That's what's going to make Sydney make Sydney or not make Sydney, yeah. So that's what I feel like. What else do I feel like with this one? Yeah, that's pretty much with it as a reading, but I do want to talk about a thing on Facebook. This is not a reading, it's not a psychic thing. It's more what I saw, okay? As a non-psychic thing, okay? It would have been about 6 months ago, a year ago. I'm on Facebook. I look at NCIS, the fan. Facebook, right? And there's a picture of Tony and Siba at a restaurant or a bar, something like that. I wouldn't say a bar, but more of a restaurant. And there's a white building behind him. And they say, what do you think of it? I thought, yeah, nice. It's a nice picture. But more I looked into this picture, more I think of Victoria Market. It's here in Victoria. It's in actually in Melbourne itself. In I think it's North Melbourne, up near there if you want to go and see it. And it reminds me of that because there's a white building behind them too, okay? And this white building behind them too, it reminds me of the building connected to Victoria Market. Like they have two parts. One's an open part and there's one closed part. This reminds me of the older closed part of Victoria Market. And to a point, I can see them too at the McDonald's. At McDonald's, there's a little cafe in outside part of cafe related to Victoria Market. It might be that too. So that's one of the other reasons I feel like this was in the Pirates for a while, the Sydney one. And this is why I feel like another reason I feel like Tony and Siba would be in the Sydney one. And the other reason I feel like that, and if you look back, like that, go back to my NCIS stuff, I see, I call it, I don't know what it is, like a caravan or a moving restaurant. I don't know what it is, but I see this with a bit of I won't get right in there, but I see a respect sign. That's another reason I feel like Tony Seaver's going to come into the Sydney one, okay? Maybe even Gibbs, all right? I do feel like that. What else did I want to share with you with this show that I can share with you? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I just want to share this one with you because I thought this is really interesting. Like I said, if you go back to my readings to NICS, I thought, well, this is really interesting too. I went to, it was in 2015, I just came into Bendigo, kind of meditated, picked up on Tony Seaver. At that stage, I had no idea who they were, I had no idea at all. And now this is happening. I thought, that's really interesting. There might have been a talk about Sydney's one, but at that stage, I'm not quite sure, but I find it really interesting, and that's why I feel like this. If it does happen, the Sydney one does happen, I feel like it's been in the pipe works for a while. Okay, yeah, I just find this really interesting, the whole outcome of it all. Now, into a point, I remember one of my predictions for, I think it was 2021, that there was going to be planes going to stop, okay? No one's going to get hurt, but planes going to get stopped, okay? And I remember watching the crossover with the other three NICS, all right? The New Orleans, Los Angeles, and NICS. And they had planes just all on the ground. I thought, I wonder that was part of my predictions, yeah? So it's really interesting how it all came about. And like I said, if you're thinking, yeah, she's full of it, she talked to Sam Quest, she talked to Indy. No, I didn't. I had no idea of any of these. People I know who are connected to media, they did say, one thing they did say to me, and I'm not okay saying this, and they say to me, are you thinking of going to Sydney? And I looked at them and I thought they moved to Sydney at this stage. And I thought to myself, if I'm not going to move back to Melbourne, why would I go back to Sydney? Go to Sydney, because Sydney is a big city. Anyone knows Sydney in Australia, they know that's the biggest city in Australia. It is the biggest city in Australia. So for me, and it's too crowded for me. Typical Sydney and Melbourne is too crowded for me. Give me Adelaide any day, I would move there. But people did say that to me. And that's the only thing I would say to people. they did say to me, are you going to move to Sydney? And I go, why would I move to Sydney for? Yeah, that's the only thing people have said to me. The other thing I will say too, and I don't think people are going to get in trouble for this, is I was when I'm in Bendigo, there's a pub kind of restaurant kind of thing, and I think it's Royal Park, I think that's how you say it. When you go down to that park, this pub restaurant place, I'll go past it all the time, and it reminds me of New Orleans, NCIS New Orleans, where the person in charge owns this pub. It kind of reminds me of that place. So I thought that's really interesting, especially what we know now with Sydney. So I thought I'd just share that bit with you too, because that's not a major thing, but I thought that's really interesting. So I just leave it at this. Like I said, no one said nothing to me. I really want to put that one out there because I know people get a bit offended by it. Someone said something to you or whatever, and I don't want people to get in trouble for it because no one did say anything to me. But the other thing is, on Wednesday, America's time, Tuesday, I'm going to start doing missing people. So this will be the last one. There probably will be an update on Sydney if it does come on. Just because I feel like from 2015 to now, there's something in all this. So, yeah. Yeah, so I just leave it. Hope you like it. Subscribe if you want. And I'll see you on Wednesday, but with a missing person. Bye.